Hey, another quick update here on my 85 C10 with an OM606 motor. It's been a few months since I finished the work. The 606 with the 4L60 transmission. I started driving it, and it was driving and shifting pretty good, except that the rear end was a 290, I believe. So it really needed to be re-geared. I got into that and I put a 390. And what happened as soon as I took it around for a spin, it felt really good. So I got a little excited, and within minutes or a couple miles, I broke my transmission pump. So I brought it home. I replaced the pump, and after I did that, I started having other issues. So I've been basically dealing with a number of issues that have come up since I finished the swap. Some of them just incidental, just coincidence. And some others, you know, the product of or for errors mistakes that I made. Like the transmission, the reason that it sorry, I opened my garage. The reason that the pump broke is I, for no good reason, decided to shim the torque converter, and it wasn't a good idea. So that broke the stator on my pump. So after I fixed the transmission, I started having other issues with it. The 2/4 band and the forward clutches started burning, so I dropped the transmission again and I rebuilt it. And actually, it's driving, it's shifting okay, but for some reason I'm just not feeling comfortable with it. It's still overheating. It's only been I don't know, maybe 50 miles at the most, and the oil smells a little bit like it's burning. Something is still burning in there. So when I did the project, I really had no interest in dealing with transmission problems, which I've dealt with before, and it's just too much of a pain, because the project is not about fighting a transmission issue, but rather enjoying the motor, which is the main thing, the main deal. Other things came up. I had a leak, a small leak on the injection pump. So I removed the intake to try to fix that leak quickly. And I guess when I removed the intake, it appears that something fell in my cylinder number 5. So it looks like I bent the valve. So I was waiting to remove the head and replace the valve. I ordered the parts, etc. And then it started working, gradually started working better. But there was a leak. There was still a leak coming from somewhere. And it turned out to be the pre-chamber. It was very loose. Matter of fact, I got a video. I may show it. But I don't know why the coincidence that when I seemed like I bent a valve, it then started leaking through the pre-chamber. So I was expecting to find the pre-chamber completely destroyed, and it was intact. No scratches, no nothing. It just happened to be loose. So I took care of that. And then this brake cylinder broke, and then my radiator, the original one, started leaking, and just a number of things. Again, like I said, the pre-chamber, the re-gearing, the brake cylinder, the radiator, and just a number of things that I've been dealing with. But again, getting back to the transmission, I'm just I don't want to continue fighting it. It drives fine, uh, but it overheats a little bit, a little more than it reaches 200 a little too quickly. I get on the highway and it stays constant, maybe 180, 190, but on the street it seems to overheat a little more. And I don't know. I suppose I could figure it out, but it's just I'm just not interested anymore. Uh, so the transmission adapter for that Chevy 4L60E, the instruction, the installation manual says that it can also be used for a manual transmission as long as you get the right parts. And so I started thinking about that. So anyway, rather than trying to figure out what is wrong with my transmission and dealing with those headaches, I'm having another idea. That transmission adapter apparently, like I said, can be used with a manual transmission, and so I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try a manual to make this a manual, a 5-speed rather than automatic. And I found this NV3500 from a 2002 Chevy Silverado. Got it for a pretty good deal, so I couldn't pass that. I grabbed it. The maker of the adapter, the transmission adapter, said that it could be used for a manual setup as long as I got this flywheel. It's a 19, it had to be from an 85, it had to be behind a V8 Chevy 85 and older. So I go to the junkyard and it's internally balanced. I go to the junkyard and I found this guy. And I brought it, the whole setup, clutch and everything. So when I tried it, the bell housing turned out to be a little short. So I talked to the maker of the adapter, and he says that this is not the transmission they intended to advise, but rather a T5. But because this flywheel and clutch assembly is really only about an 1/8 inch too deep, or the bell housing an 1/8 of an inch too small, I'm going to try this 1/4 inch spacer. With that 1/4 inch, I'll end up with 1/8 of an inch clearance for my slave cylinder. So of course, to convert this to a manual transmission, I also needed a bracket, which I found at the junkyard as well. But instead of replacing the whole thing, what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply replace this part, which is the one that used to extend the bolt that takes the clutch pedal. All I got to do is bolt it onto mine and it'll work fine. It'll be sturdy enough. By the way, I purchased this guy, master cylinder, online. I think it'll work. I've already drilled my hole for that, and I have the clutch pedal ready. I don't want to zoom into that weld job. Terrible. But the reason is that I was doing this on a trial and error basis because, as you can see, I was not expecting this much separation between the rod and the clutch, and that's how it worked out. As you can see, I had to extend the rod, and in doing so, I went and made this adjustable. That's going to help, just in case. So my plan was to use the one-piece drive shaft that I have right now behind my 4L60E, but it turns out that this output shaft is bigger diameter and different tooth count. So lucky for me, again, my neighbor has this 2-piece drive shaft, with the right yoke on the front that will fit my output shaft. So the only problem is that this guy is bigger than I need. This is the right size. So my plan, as you can probably already imagine, is make one drive shaft out of these two. I'll use the front half of this two piece with the rear part of that one piece. That should take care of it. I just gotta go to a guy to do that work for me. What am I missing? There you have it. I think I'll attach another clip once this is all installed, or I may post this video and then do a separate video for the completed work. I'll decide. Thanks for watching for now.